Okay, Unit 3, Day 9, warm-up. No lesson. There's no more lessons. Front of this is warm-up. The back is just kind of a summary of a lot of the different things we talked about this chapter, just something helpful. And today's assignment will be the pre-test for your test. So anyways, on the AP multiple choice, if you had limited time, you could do these however you want, but you're going to have to be quick. Essentially, you have about 2 minutes per question, 3 minutes per question on calculator problems. So it's not enough to just know how to do these. You got to be quick, and you got to take advantage of shortcuts when you can. So like the first problem, equation of tangent line to the curve, x squared plus y squared equals 169, 0.5 negative 12. Well, that's a circle, tangent line to circle. I showed you guys a bunch of calculus that you could do for it, but the fast way is to just draw a picture and say, all right, 13, 13, negative 13, negative 13, draw the circle. So you should try these before I do these. Okay, try them all first. So go ahead and pause the video. Try these if you haven't yet. Okay, and then so I'll go ahead and tell you guys what the answers are. So number 1, the answer is C. Number 2, the answer is C. Number 3, the answer is A. Number 4, the answer is A. So 3 is A, 4 is A. So back to number 1. 5 negative 12 would be somewhere around here. 5 negative 12. I'm going to give you guys something like this on your test for sure. Tangent line's there. Draw the radius, right? And so what we know is that the slope of the radius, and just rise or run, just count down 12 to the right 5, negative 12 over 5. Should be negative. So the slope perpendicular to that, which would be the slope of your tangent line, is the negative reciprocal of that. And it should be positive. And then so the equation lines me y minus negative 12 plus 12 equals 5/12 x minus 5. Now on free response, this is good enough. But multiple choice, you sometimes have to do more work. So I definitely should distribute this. I think we should probably get rid of the fractions. These answers look like they're in standard form, so I guess we'll go for that. 12y plus 144 equals 5x minus 25. Move the x over here. By subtracting 5x, move this over here. It's going to be negative 169. I don't see that answer, negative 169, so let's divide a negative out of everything. Do 5x minus 12y instead equals positive 169. There it is. So multiple choice, I think, is actually more work than non-multiple choice. And the wrong answers are there to trick you. So, okay, number 2, we have this function. We want to find the derivative at 1. Now, 1 is this boundary. Now, we could say, okay, well, let's find the derivative of this function 2x when x is less than 1 and 2 when x is greater than 1. And you might be like, oh, well, this is equals 2, so we should just plug 1 into this and we get 2, and that's the answer. Now, that did happen to be the answer, but you see the non-existent answer? That is a very possible answer. So the thing you need to confirm is that the derivative actually exists at 1, which is this weird boundary point, which means it's got to be continuous. So you got to, if you want to see if it's differentiable, you have to first confirm that it's continuous. And our lazy way of doing that is to plug that transition point into both of them and see if they have the same y values, and they do. So then you got to do the same thing here, is you got to make sure that the slopes on both sides of that transition point agree with each other, and they do. So yes, you can put the bar underneath here, and yes, the answer is going to be 2. But this is work you would need to show on my tests I'm probably not going to give you multiple choice. And this is work that you would need to do to make sure that your answer is C, because you could easily be non-existent. If these weren't the same, or if these weren't the same, non-existent would be your answer. Okay. The graph of this is increasing for all x, decreasing for all x, increasing for certain values, decreasing for certain values. So increasing, decreasing. Increasing is when you have positive slope. Okay. And decreasing is when you have negative slope. So you probably want to figure out, when is the slope positive or negative? So we should probably go ahead and find the slope first, 6x squared plus 24. And the thing that, if you're observant, you might realize that this is always positive for all x, right? Any x you plug in, 0 squared plus 24, positive, positive, positive. Negative gets squared, becomes positive, positive. So the answer is A, it's increasing for all x. Now, if it were going to be increasing here, decreasing there, whatever, things like that, what we'd probably do is we do a line check and decide where it's positive or negative. And instead of like true or false, we decide where it's positive or negative. And that would involve finding the zeros of this. And you would get x equals plus or minus 2I, which are imaginary roots, which means this has no real roots. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do a line check. Your line check is going to be all empty. And you would test any point you want, 0, it comes out positive. So this is increasing all the time. Otherwise, it would flip back and forth just like the true false things. Okay. Number 4, bonus is not optional. It is required. Bonus as in the sense of, yay, bonus. This is maybe a tough problem that I get to try. Now, here's a function, and it says if C is the only real number where FC equals 0, so that's like an X-intercept, then C has to be between what values? I don't know. I mean, you guys could try and solve this, but it's going to involve rational root theorem, synthetic division. If it has a real or if it has a rational root, which we're not guaranteed, it could be irrational, right? But here's the quick way, since multiple choice, we're on the clock. Let's just plug these values in real quick. And that might seem like a lot, but it's not that bad. At -2 would be -8, plus 2 plus 3 is -3. Plug -1 and get -1, plus 1 plus 3 is 3. Plug 0 and you get 0 minus 0 plus 3 is 3. Plug 1 in, you get 1 minus 1 plus 3 is 3. Plug 2 in, you get 8 minus 2 plus 3 is 9. Plug 3 in, you get 27 minus 3 plus 3 is 27. Now, here's the deal. This is a continuous function. They didn't need to tell you that. You should know that a cubic is a continuous function. And there's this special rule in calculus that says if you have a continuous function, then that means your graph is always connected and you can't magically jump from one value to the next, which means you have to hit all the values in between, okay? And so right here, we're guaranteed that it has to hit 0, right? Between a negative and a positive number, for sure, it's going to go through 0, all the values in between. Okay, so it has to hit 0 here at least one time. Now, by the way, could it hit 0 between these other ones? It could, but we can't say for sure based off this idea. Okay, now this idea that you have to hit all the values in between known values on a continuous function in calculus, I mean, it seems like just logical, right? I mean, you should be like, oh, yeah, of course. But in calculus, we have a fancy name for it. It's called the intermediate value theorem. So you're going to hit every intermediate value. And so the answer has to be -2, -1. That'd be the quick way. That's, I think, easier than trying to solve for the root, which might not even be possible to find for you if it's irrational. It's only going to work. Rational theorem and synthetic division is only going to work if it has a nice, clean value, but it might not. So, anyways, there you go. A little bonus knowledge for you that we'll talk about again in the future. But that is a calculus idea. Pretty simple one. So now, like I said, the back has just kind of a bunch of notes. I wouldn't say it's exhaustive. It doesn't have everything, but it has a lot of good stuff on it. Okay. So, anyways, just something to help you study. And then your assignment is going to be the pretest, which looks a lot like your test. So, anyways, go ahead and try the pretest. I'll make a separate video going over questions from the pretest. So, there you go.